morning, everyone. Welcome to the second semester of LA3. So this week we are going to begin reading U.S. Seminal Documents. Seminal means important or foundational. So we're going to be reading documents from the first 80 or so years of our nation's founding, the Declaration of Independence, parts of the Constitution, a speech by Frederick Douglass, an article from a Convention on Women's Rights in the 1840s, the Emancipation Proclamation, Lincoln's second inaugural address, important documents that give many perspectives of what freedom means and should be. So this week you have, this first assignment is an Edpuzzle video that goes over logos, ethos, and pathos. And gives you some examples. There are questions that go along with it. That's really participation. I want you to, think about it and try, but if you get it wrong, I want you to see what the right answer is. So that's why that one's participation. You're also going to read the Declaration of Independence and Article 2 of the Constitution, which is the one that deals with the executive branch and the presidency. So on these assignments, those are posted through Kami. If you were online last semester, then you have not encountered Kami before, or at least you haven't used it. So I'm going to quickly go over some parts of that. On this Declaration of Independence article, some of my instructions that I initially had on there got deleted. So as you read, I want you to make at least 5 annotations or comments using Kami. Those can be your responses to some of the ideas. It can be a connection, like you're like, oh, this reminds me of this, or I remember reading about this in history class. It really meant this, or maybe it's a place where you're confused or have a question. Well, you can put those out to the side. So I have some comments on these that are going to help you with parts of the questions. So I've got all the word that highlighted multiple times because there's a lot of repetition and the Declaration of Independence, and that's used as a rhetorical device, repeating things, listing things. It's to make it more powerful, like a list. It adds to the intensity. Here we've got highlighted in yellow a list of what's called parallel structure. He has refused, he has forbidden, he has refused, he has called, he has dissolved. And I've got a note on parallel structure over to the side, and there are some questions about that at the end. Now to make a comment on something in Kami, what you do, you go to this little conversation bubble, and you would click on this, and let's say you've got a comment on this first sentence. You would highlight that, and then it gives you a comment out to the side, and you can make your comment. Yeah, you could also do it as a voice or video comment. I haven't personally really used that, but it is something that you can use. So you can make those little comments out to the side. That's how you're going to annotate it. Now, at the bottom, you have questions. These last 2 pages are your questions. So it says, in an argument, a claim is the author's position on an issue. What claim does Jefferson make in the first paragraph, and how does he say he will support that claim? So he's like, here's what I'm saying. I'm going to prove it. Here's how. So you would go up to this first paragraph here, and then go back down and answer the question. To answer this, you're going to have to make a text box. So this capital T, you just make your text box here and write your answer, and click out of it, and boom, your answer is there. I am asking you to try to highlight your answers just to make them easier for me to see. To highlight it, you could do 2 things. You could highlight that text, or you could click in your text box and go to this fill background button, and your whole answer is in a yellow text box now, which is pretty useful. I'm gonna close out of that. So that's that assignment. Annotations, 9 questions. Also, on Article 2 of the Constitution, it's also in Kami. And on this one, there are instructions on specific things to highlight and make notes about. To make notes in the margin, you could just use your text box and, make your notes over there. And there are some places that have lines. To answer those, again, make a text box and just, copy over it. And you can also change the background to white so that the lines don't show up. All right, that's it.